So here we are again with another IS300. I just can't get, out of the loop of just buying more IS300s. I just love this car. This is gonna be my first dark gray one. I've had the black one, I've had a pearl one, we've even had a silver one. But me personally, there's been two for the dealership that have been a pearl and a silver one, and then I have had a black one, a pearl one, and now it's gonna be this gray one. And I just love how they drive, and obviously they come with the 2JZ power plant. Even though it's not the boosted one, they're still pretty peppy. So this is how this one looks at the moment. Looks like they ended up hitting something, bumper ripped right off, and the fender got smashed in, and somehow the headlight survived. I don't know how it survived, but it survived, and this is all dented up. But luckily this A-pillar right here is perfect condition, and the door is in perfect condition. If we go to the inside, the inside is also very nicely. It's very nice. Airbags did not deploy, there's no emergency lights on. The seats, they're not torn like is normal of the leather seats. Continue to walk around. It does have some aftermarket piece, which is like a lip attachment to the rear bumper. Makes it look kind of like a BN style, so I don't know if I'm going to be leaving that or taking it off. It does look kind of weird that it only has the back piece and not like side skirts and a front bumper piece. But overall, this thing looks very nice. One thing I did forget to mention is that the hood is in perfect condition. Well, it's in used condition. It's not in a crashed condition, so the hood actually survived. So what we're gonna have to do is start tearing it apart, see what's wrong. I do know that this wheel right here got hit by the impact, so it might be an arm that's bent or something like that, because it is not driving perfectly straight. I have to drive it at a weird angle for it to drive straight, so that wheel is not in its correct orientation. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the fender, we're gonna remove the bumper, and then we're gonna assess the damage on the actual suspension side of the car and see what's wrong, see what got bent, see what needs to be replaced, see what needs to be painted. I already found the bumper, I can't find the fender just yet, so let's get started on the tear down. Got the fender out. Everything seems to be okay under here except this little section where the fender mounts. Looks like it got a little bit bent, and it broke the brackets that hold the headlight in place to the fender. And one of the ways you can tell there's something wrong with the suspension is that this is touching. That's not supposed to be touching, so that's not good. So we're gonna have to look in here, see if anything looks bent, but so far I haven't seen anything weird. Everything looks fairly normal. It just might be just slightly bent, or it might just be broken. Let's go under here to see what the side should look like. Okay, this looks pretty straight. It's lower control arm, and it's got like this little extra piece that's like separate but bolts to it. Now let's check out the other side. Oh, that doesn't look so straight. Yeah, it's got a bit of a curve to it, or it should be perfectly straight. And this piece I measured from bolt to bolt, and it's shorter than the other side, so that means that one is bent as well. So we're gonna need to be replacing both lower control arms, and that's about it. Looks like I'll just put those ones in, and the wheel should be back to normal after that. That's good to know. So here we are with the new lower control arm. Found one that was in perfect shape. Got a good deal on it because they are not cheap. And here's the one that we took out. It's obviously bent, and it was not easy to remove it. That's why I couldn't really record, because I needed both of my hands, and I don't have my camera guy with me here today. But it's out. It was not easy, especially because I decided to remove it as one piece because there's 2 bolts here that you can remove. I'll show it to you on this side. And I didn't feel like removing them, so that made it a little bit more difficult, especially because right there where the control arm is, there's like a big thing sticking out there that it has to go into the control arm right there. So I had to force like a bracket that's underneath it down to be able to get it out. But it's out now. Time to put that in, and then hopefully the wheel will now be sitting straight and I won't be rubbing like I was in this little section right here. So let's go ahead and install the new piece. Now that the new lower control arms are on, the tire does not rub in that section anymore, and it is more centered than it used to be. So that's gonna fix our alignment problem. Looks like I might need to straighten out this wheel still a little bit, but for the most part now the wheel's not rubbing, it's not getting jammed up, and it should drive much better with just that. Everything else seemed pretty good. And when I tore everything apart, I noticed that everything else was perfectly fine. The part right here where the fender bolts onto was a little bent, but I straightened that back out, so now it looks much better. And the core support was untouched. It is perfectly straight. So this is going to be the first IS300 that I work on that I do not have to replace the core support, so that's a big plus. And then I did not have to replace the radiator, which helps out a lot, and pretty much any other component. It's just going to be control arms, the fender's going to be replaced, and that's for obvious reasons. And the bumper as well is missing a chunk out of it. I can show you guys here. It's missing this whole chunk. So we went ahead and bought a new one. So here we are with the parts for the Lexus IS300. Got the front bumper, covered up the grille, added a little bit of promotion adhesion after sanding it down with some Scotch Brite, I think is what it's called. And then the grille, also masked off the little chrome edging, sanded down the center part because it was all like chipping off. And then the fender, did a little bit of body work to the top. The paint was a little bit dry, so I needed to make sure that that wasn't going to come through the paint. And the fender that I found is actually an OEM color one. If only it wasn't sun faded, it would have been perfect and I wouldn't have to paint it. But I'm gonna have to paint it and blend it and make sure that, you know, the color matches really good with the door. So these are the only parts that I actually need to paint for this car, so that was awesome to find a car that was such an easy fix. Now let's see how they turned out after we are done painting them. And we're about to mix some paint up so we can get this properly mixed. I'm gonna start off, I'm gonna go with 10 ounces of paint, and then I'm gonna do the rest with reducer, and that should be good. So it is Lexus 1C6 dark gray is the paint code. It's a beautiful color. Let's go ahead and mix it up so we can get it in the gun and lay it down. Here we are in the after. Mission accomplished. The paint laid down beautifully. Look at that metallic flake inside the paint. This is a beautiful dark gray color. I don't know why it looks blue, but it's not blue. It looks blue on the phone. And then as well as painting the front bumper, look, you can clearly see me in the reflection. Went ahead and painted the grille, which apparently is color matched, and I covered it up with some masking tape, the little chrome edge that they come with. So that's gonna have a fresh coat of paint on the grille. And then the fender is also finished as well. It was a bit faded on the top section, so that's why I needed to just go ahead and give it a nice recoat. I did blend the fender, so half of this fender right here is painted, and this back section right here where it's going to meet the door is not painted, because the paint does seem to have a very slight difference, which most people won't be able to tell, but I just like to blend them anyways so that the difference in paint disappears completely. Obviously the car is an older car, it's a 2005, but the clear coat on it is still very nice, so hopefully the front bumper won't stand out as much. So now the next thing I need to do is, before the paint dries, I need to remove all this masking tape I put on the grill and on this little chrome accent on this grill. So that's the bottom grill, this is the top grill, because if I let the paint dry, then that's gonna might mess it up. So let me go ahead and remove that and then show you guys how that, for those of you that are curious, this is how it looks with the masking tape removed. So that piece was left black. And then for the other grill, see how it has like a chrome ring? It has a little chrome ring from factory, so I figured it'd be best to kind of leave it to looking like it's, you know, OEM still, not just completely paint the whole grill. That way it looks nice and neat, and I think it gives it a nice little accent and a little definition. That way the grill doesn't just disappear since it's color matched. But it's looking amazing. Happy with the results. Now I just gotta let it dry overnight, and then I can go ahead and put the car together. The floor is really sticky, so my shoes are sticking to the ground right now because of all the clear coat. So on to the next day. So here we are. It's another day, bright and early, and looks like everything is nice and dry now. The fender is looking amazing. So now we can go ahead and install it onto the Lexus. So after it was all nice and clean, went ahead and put on the fender. Here it is, color matched pretty good. That is on as well. The hood, luckily when I removed it, these two bolts here are like conical, which means that no matter what, they're going to be in the same exact spot. So that made it a lot easier to just go ahead and mount the hood, and it just closed up perfectly. The fender is lining up real good. It's got really good fitment, obviously because it's an OEM. Look at that panel gap, looks really good. And then the shine of the car is actually really similar to the shine of the freshly painted parts. So that's another big bonus, because normally after you paint something, it's going to be way shinier than the rest of the car. So you have to give the car a bit of a polish, but it looks like this one might have already had it. So now the next step would be to go ahead and install the bumper, which I have right over here. But before we install the bumper, we actually need to install the fog lights and the little... Before we transfer all the parts over to the new bumper, we're gonna have to go ahead and polish them. This is obviously the bumper that I had on there before. See, it's missing a nice big chunk. And then the headlights could use a little bit of a cleaning. They're not that bad, but we can make them look a lot better. So we're gonna go ahead and start sanding them down with 2000. That way we can get all of the oxidation off and all of the stuff that's been gathering on there over the years, so we can get them to be nice and shiny. Right, so we got them all sanded down. Goes the headlight, other headlight, and then the other fog light, which still has some water on it. But now what I'm gonna go ahead and use is gonna be this right here. It's the 3M Perfected rubbing compound. That's gonna get the shine back out. Gonna be using that with a wool pad for the first step. Now that I did the first step, we're gonna be using the second step, which is gonna be a machine polish. I used 3M Part B, and we're going to be using a little a foam pad to go ahead and actually polish these lights. So if they already look shiny, they're going to look even shinier after we polish them. So let's go ahead and do all four. Now that we have them all polished up, we can go ahead and remove the fog lights. You're going to need two 10mm bolts to remove them, and then there's like a little tab here that you just push down, and out the fog light goes through the bottom. There it is, nice and shiny. I didn't want to do them on the new bumper because then I would have probably damaged the new paint, so I don't want to do that yet. It's not fully cured, so that's why I did them on the old bumper, because I needed something to hold them in place. I could have did them outside, but then it's a little bit harder to polish them when you're holding them with your hand. And then let's go ahead and remove these little side markers so we can go ahead and finish installing the bumper. There's the headlight, came out really good. So let's see what this Lexus looks like with its front end put back on. So here we are with the bumper installed. As you can see, it's looking gorgeous. The fitment is on point for the fender to bumper. and the fender to hood is actually really nice. The nice part about this car is that it did not have that much damage, so when you go to put everything back on, everything goes on fairly easy. I did have to raise this little frame rail that's right underneath the fender, where that front fender bolt on top bolts to. So I needed to go ahead and lift up a little bit of the frame that looks like it went down from the hit. When it hit right in the little edge right here on this corner, it pulled it down, so I just went ahead and lifted it back up. It was fairly easy. Let me go ahead and show you guys where that. So this is looking on the inside of the car. We're going down. You can see the outside. I'm on the tire right now. You come in here, and I went ahead and I lifted it from this section right here, right there. This frame rail you can kind of see from above, which is where you bolt your fender to. It got a little bit bent. You can see there's a little bit of bending right there, but nothing hammer can straighten back out. And then I went ahead and lifted it from that spot right there, and then we were in perfect shape. You guys can see the fender fitment is actually pretty good. The reason there's this gap here is because the little clip that clips onto it has been modified, and this fender has actually been rolled before. If you guys can see, the fender was on a car with 20-inch wheels, so that was funny enough. So that's why the fender's rolled and it has like that weird little gap there. But overall, the rest of the bumper is looking very nice. Also, with the door, everything is fitting in pretty good. So I'm happy with the fitment. Obviously, it's really hard to go back to an OEM style fit when a car has been hit before, but this one was really good. I'm really liking the way it turned out. The car looks great. Now all I have to do is go ahead and enjoy it, and if someone wants to pick it up, I will have to get another daily. That's just how this works. So we are finally done. Got everything installed. It's very hot right now. The sun's really bright, and I'm in Arizona, a little sweaty, so don't mind that. I'm just happy that the car's done. I did try to get it aligned a little bit, and just with me messing with alignment, measuring the tires like I normally do just to get a quick alignment so I don't have to go spend 50 bucks. I actually got the car drive perfectly straight, so surprisingly it wasn't that far off. Just the wheel that got hit was the one that was mainly off, so I just went ahead and adjusted it. Everything looked good. The car drives perfectly straight, no weird noises, doesn't pull to one side, nothing. The car is now finally complete. It's looking gorgeous. All the lights work, everything. The only thing I do need to do is replace the windshield, and then after that I can go ahead and take it to Arizona Department of Transportation so they can go ahead and inspect it, make sure everything works, make sure all the safety features are there, make sure all the lights work, make sure that none of the parts are stolen, which I think is one of the things that they do as well. And yeah, just pretty much enjoy it after that, post it up for sale, see if anybody's interested in picking it up. I'm gonna probably put it on our website, which is johnnythecardoctor.com, under the for sale section, and then just enjoy it as my daily, because I don't know if you guys can see a little sneak peek right there. There's already another daily that's coming up next after this one sells. So I have lots of projects, lots of Lexus, lots of FRS mods, also Fiesta ST, Tacoma builds and stuff like that. So if you guys are interested in seeing more like this one, make sure you subscribe, like, and just stay tuned, because we're going to be rebuilding a lot of these cars, and we're going to be modifying a lot of cars as well. So if you guys enjoy that, if you guys enjoy watching me work on cars and leaving them this pretty, make sure you stay subscribed. So as always, you guys have a great day.